Welcome everybody to Geek Boots, Military Nerds. Here at Geek Boots, I like to tell you all about the big green weenie and how it likes to continue to fuck us. Like saving a trailer, and then somebody decides to leak said trailer at 144 pixels, and now you're forced to release the trailer. Not every big green weenie could be a winner, though. So that was
wiener.
That was the best we could do. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to this channel. Check us out on Patreon. Every bit of your support helps us to becoming a brand and a business and an even larger platform. Check us out on YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, your mother's backside. We're looking for those hot, sweet backside tattoos, ladies. Come on, we got this. Fellas, we don't discriminate. We know you get drunk sometimes. It's all right. We got you. Special announcement. Trevor, aka Hawkeye.Cosplay, is officially a member of the podcast.
What's up? Yay!
Woo. Quick brief about you. You're to let our listeners remember who the fuck you are.
Who I am?
Yes.
Well, you already mentioned it. I'm Trevor. Hawkeye.Cosplay on Instagram. Was in the Air Force active duty and in the Air Guard and the Army Guard. So I did both two branches, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Sweet.
What else you want to know?
You are an uncanny version of Hawkeye, so people might have to adjust their screens. One of these days, you're going to be dressed up, and we're just going to call you Jeremy the entire time. It's going to be great. So excited to have you join us, be a part
Happy
of the fam. This episode, we are going to dive into a red carpet experience say it again for me.
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi, the Legend of the Ten Rings. For those of you who are listening, we are not going to do spoiler review, but I am going to give a origin history of. I did a little bit of research on the character because probably like many of you, considering it's how many tickets they sold, probably not a lot of people went to go see it because they're probably like me going, who?
Well,
I have no idea. I have no idea who this guy is.
It doesn't come out till September 3rd.
Oh, I was wrong.
There's that.
Wow.
I was like, but it hasn't come out yet.
Well, then never mind. I obviously read a wrong article. Moving on. If you're wondering who the fuck this guy is, don't worry, we got you. I did as much of that I can of him, and then all we're going to do is we're going to run that by, and Hawkeye, our guy who got to see the red carpet premiere, is going to let us know whether or not they honored that or if they blemished on it a little bit to give it a little more flair. That being said, let's throw it over to Hawkeye now. Tell us about your red carpet experience of this fantastic upcoming Marvel movie.
Well, this was the first premiere during the pandemic, so it was a very unique experience. And since I'm new to cosplay, it was my first premiere. I mean, I went to the Black Widow and Loki, but those are more fan event type premieres, so they were a little bit different than this one. So we had to get COVID tested. So that's the first thing that was very interesting. So we arrived on site. They took us they had a bunch of stations set up. We went in, we got, swabbed, and then we sat down in a waiting area, basically, waiting for our name to be called, saying that we were cleared. And once we got cleared, they put a pink band on our wrist to show that we had gone through the COVID testing process. And then they took us in groups up to the far end of the red carpet. They had basically blocked off all of the Hollywood Boulevard there from Highland to the Chinese Theater, if you've ever been there.
Okay.
So pretty big stretch. They blocked it off there. And anyway, they took us up. And then they had on either side of this particular section of the red carpet, they had created half walls. And where we stood, basically we stood behind those, and they kind of lined us up, single file along this wall. And as people got cleared, they would fill up each side, and then they filled up the opposite side. So the cosplayers were actually looking at each other, which was kind of fun because you had your friends across the way, and so we were able to see each other. So we stood there for a while and interacted with the Marvel employees that were on the red carpet, and a lot of the cameramen, the people that are doing interviews. We were chatting with them before any arrivals started to happen. And then on the other side of the street, there was huge crowds of people, waiting to get a glimpse. Right, they were crowded across the street there, kind of staring at us, which was interesting. And anyway, so then they would when they started to arrive, they would walk in. I guess that would be the west side or to my left. And once they would come in, they would come down basically the row of fans, the cosplayers, and say hi to us and work their way down and sign autographs, take pictures, talk to us. It was pretty surreal to get that experience. So they did that, one by one, and then they would once they would be done with the fans, then they would move over and do interviews and then take some pictures, and then they would kind of move on down the red carpet. They had a large Shang-Chi backdrop that they were taking pictures in front of, so I couldn't see what was happening past that because they would go around the edge of it, and then they would do more interviews as they proceeded towards El Capitan Theater. So it was very surreal. We got to meet. I got to meet most of the actors from the show, although some of them they started going down the other side, the opposite side, and so I didn't get to meet them all, but got to see them all at least. So once that process ended, then they were showing the movie in two theaters. They were showing it in the Chinese theater, and they were showing it in El Capitan. And based on, they gave us badges when we got there that had our seat assignments on it, and so we knew which one to go into. And at that point, I had made an assumption, we were still outside, that they were probably going to take all the important people, all the cast and crew and everything. They're going to put them in one theater, and then the fans were going to be in the opposite theater to see the movie. So we went inside. They gave us concessions, which was really nice. We went down to our assigned seats, and as we were sitting there kind of chatting with each other, we realized that there were several of the actors and important people in our theater with us. In fact, Sir Ben Kingsley was in our theater, and some others. So that was pretty cool to know that they were in the theater with us, getting ready to watch the movie. The highlight for me was meeting Kevin Feige. I mean, I got to meet a lot of people. I met Sir Ben Kingsley, which was obviously amazing, but meeting Kevin Feige and while I was shaking his hand, he kind of freaked out and was looking at me, go, "Whoa, you really look like him." So it was pretty cool to have that kind of that validation from Kevin Feige that that I resembled Hawkeye. But anyway, so we were in there when the movie starts, basically, and the whole theater erupts in cheers and claps, and it was just it was pretty cool. So we watched the movie, and then when it was over, they initially took all the important people out through a different exit, and then we all went back out onto the red carpet for probably another 30 or 45 minutes and took more pictures out there. They had a lot of areas where we could take pictures and things like that, and then there's still a huge crowd out there watching us. Yeah, and that was pretty much it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So can we expect Kevin Feige to just contact you randomly to be a stunt double for Jeremy Renner?
Well, that would be pretty amazing, wouldn't it? But it was definitely a nice experience. It would be cool if they did, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. Plus, it probably hurts. Probably hurt myself.
What? It's I don't know if you guys ever were ever paying attention to the potential of whatever Hellboy movie was coming out, and Ron Perlman was on Twitter, and he went in an interview somewhere. This ties into you, trust me. He goes, "Yeah, I keep telling Gilmore that we need to make another movie soon because I'm in my 60s. I'm gonna be too old to be doing Hellboy. Come on, let's get into it." And not to comment about your age, good sir, but if they want you to be in it, it's like, dude, while I'm in my prime, you sons of bitches, let's do this.
That's right. Let's do this. Let's do this. Yeah.
So,
yeah, and I got to say this, just one thing before you talk about the backstory on Shang-Chi. The movie is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So let's leave it at that, and we can chat about that more later on if you want. But I was blown away.
Oh, good. Good. Okay, so the research that I did, and of course, by research I mean I watched one video. Shout out to Eris Quinones and his variant YouTube channel, Variant Comics. So he did a origin of, and the whole entire comic book is him going into this, like, I don't know, a citadel, if you will. He's beating up bad guys left and right. He's using his martial arts skills and just taking people out with such finesse until he reaches the big bad he's going after. He thinks he's on a mission of vengeance. And the guy goes, "No, you're mistaken. It's actually your dad who is the bad guy." So he has to go back, confront his father. It's either his father or his father figure. His father figure ends up going, "Oh, you caught me." He's very nonchalant, doesn't give a crap that that Shang has figured it all out. And instead of taking him right then and there, he has decided to walk away, and his mission is to make his life a living hell and can constantly fight and stop him on whatever kind of global uh, evil he plans on doing. And likewise, kind of reminiscent of Hercules, the legendary journeys, his father makes it his mission to make Shang's life a living hell by sending constant barrage of assassins and fighters and warriors to try and kill him and make his life hell. And that's kind of the premise of the comic, at least the origin and what we could presume is the comic book storylines with this character, is a constant battle and struggle of these, I guess from my limited perspective, martial arts families, kind of like the mafia within the martial arts in and of itself, which does exist. So I'm wondering if maybe in the comic book, at least, they're playing into that reality. For as far as powers and abilities go, though, his biggest power overall is the fact that he is the greatest martial artist in the Marvel universe, to such an extent that, much like Black Widow, much like Hawkeye, yeah, he could go toe to toe with the Avengers. He can go into these apocalyptic fights because he's capable of knowing how to handle himself against bigger threats. A great story of David and Goliath, if you will. So that being said, does that how well does this movie honor that, or do we blemish that a little bit? Because I know from the trailers you see these mystical rings in action, and from what I saw, it doesn't look like there's a lot of magic element in the comic books. It's more of a real grounded martial arts comic book series.
I had heard that the rings in the comic books were like on the fingers.
Oh, they
So
didn't
I
talk
don't
about
I don't know
that.
enough. Yeah, I don't know enough about it to know the backstory. I don't have any data, but I know obviously you've seen the trailer, they're on his arms.
Yeah.
There's definitely a conflict between him and his father. So that piece is, that's no spoiler. We've seen that in the
Yeah.
trailer. So that's still there. But I would say that, in Marvel Studios fashion, they're taking the comics and either modifying or enhancing a lot of different things.
Mhm.
They've done it with everybody else pretty much. So it's no surprise they would do it here. But the story, I mean, the basic story the basic premise of what you just described is definitely in the movie.
Yeah. It's I remember from the trailer, it's funny because it was more of a taking me by surprise, where I thought this guy was his father as introduced in the trailer. All of a sudden there's another shot and he goes, "Don't cross my path, boy, you won't like it," or whatever. "I'll kill you," or something like that. And I'm just like, I thought this guy was his dad. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't want to give spoilers, so
Right.
I can tell you that went in with kind of that, huh?
Yeah.
I hope this is good, and came out with, I can't wait to see it again. They've done a great job with the movie, the humor. Aquafina's in it, and if you know her, she's hilarious. So
I couldn't help but think of the bottled water is really
I know,
heavily
I
represented in
know,
this movie. Just like
yeah,
he's just
yeah,
sitting there drinking Aquafina in between
yeah.
takes.
Yeah, so you know who she is, the actress, and so anyway, the humor element was wonderful, which we enjoyed in Guardians of the Galaxy, and Thor Ragnarok, and so they definitely add a lot of that into this movie. So you're laughing and you're just really enjoying the story. So that's all I'll say. We should definitely have talk about it after it comes out, because I want to see your you guys' reaction to it.
Of course, of course. So it's funny. I'm really glad that you brought this up. To me, Aquafina as an actress, I'm not familiar with her work. I mean, it says on here that Jumanji: The Next Level was one of the movies, and I gotta admit, I hate to be that asshole, but when you said Aquafina, I literally thought you were talking about the bottle of water. No, you are talking about a person who acted in the movie.
Yes,
Oh, let me just take the foot out of my fucking mouth for 5 minutes.
yes. Everything I've seen her in, she always is so funny and so good, and she adds that element to this for sure. So um,
Nice. Cosplay Jenny, you got any questions?
Not really. You know me and my going into movies.
Yep, you want to go in blind and be either amazed or greatly disappointed. There is no in between. No, actually, that's a lie. You've come out of them. You've come back and we did a review, and you've been like, "Yeah, it was all right. I was entertained, but I wasn't like woo."
got a few
It's
like that.
true.
To me,
It's true.
to me, the what if series has been like that. I'm like, yeah, I'm entertained, but I'm not woo over it.
That Peggy episode though, that was that was something I was excited for on so many levels. And shout out to Mayan Goddess for nailing that cosplay, by the way.
Yeah, she did.
But yeah, no, I was really excited to see what they were going to do with this whole entire element, and I find it fascinating that Peggy what if ties more into what I remember from an animated movie called The Avengers something. It was an animated movie, and it had aliens and portals involved as what Red Skull and the Hydra agents were actually up to, as opposed to a bomb with the Tesseract. So
Yeah.
fascinating stuff. Um, I'm just,
I mean, they're fitting in like full movies in
Yeah,
like 30 minutes.
they really are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for
the
zombies.
animation's great.
Yeah, the animation
It
is
is
awesome.
though, right? Oh
Yeah.
my god.
I
Yeah.
really like it. Yeah, the
Have you seen
zombies is going to
today's
be
yet?
fun.
And since multiverse and everything is going to about to become up in our next piece of conversation, let's just go into the what if series so far. Go around the room, if you will. Have you been up to date with what if, and what is your favorite episode so far? We'll start with Cosplay Jenemy.
So I haven't seen today's since it's Wednesday. I haven't
Yeah.
watched today's yet. I'll be watching that after this. So I've only seen the first two, but I really, really liked the first one
Peggy.
with Peggy. Yeah, Agent Carter. Like I really, really liked that. The second one had a really hard time. Like I really wanted to like it because that's literally the last thing he ever voiced.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like following, and it didn't seem to like fit.
Right.
Like why?
Yeah. I had the same thought with that Last Night at the Museum movie with Robin Williams. I was like I think his last performance of all time. The movie's all right, but I mean, it is heart wrenching when essentially his last lines ever in film history is "Smile, my boy, it's sunrise." And somebody who loves Robin Williams, I mean, that's heart wrenching. But much like how,
Really good
yeah,
quote though.
yeah, but yeah, it's true. But as you were saying, yeah, with the second episode, I was in kind of the same. I'm in the same boat. Like I'm like I want to really give this all my love because it's essentially his last performance of period, and even I couldn't really fully get into it. Uh, Hawkeye, what about you, boss?
Yeah, I mean, the same. I don't think I've been wowed by either episode to the level that I hoped. I mean, they were good. They're good. Again, they're good. I enjoy them, but I'm not, I got to see today's episode kind of a situation,
Mhm.
like I was with Loki, where I couldn't wait for the next one. And, but I really enjoy them. It's just, yeah, same as you both. There's really amazing things about it. They're trying to cram a lot, like you said, into 30 minutes. So, I think they're doing a good job there. And of
The
course,
storytelling on its own is good.
yeah,
No.
it is.
And like that's why I really like, Agent Carter one, is because that followed really good. It's kind of what I would picture if that happened.
Yeah.
No.
Like I can follow that. But the whole Star-Lord thing I couldn't follow. Like why? How? That doesn't
Yeah. Yeah, how did they accidentally kidnap him instead of Peter Quill? Right? I mean, but that's why it's what if, right? It's what if. And I
Well,
thought
I mean,
that
there's
I thought that was pretty funny.
Maybe
I don't-
Taserface was leading the charge on that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dies.
Yeah.
Dies being laughed at. Oh, Taserface, you son of a bitch. That's a what if I want to see. I want to see Taserface survive and lead. That would be great. Anyway,
That'd be funny.
speaking of the multiverse, Spider-Man. Not all heroes wear capes, guys.
That's true.
Unless you're the
No capes.
guy who leaked it, unless the person who leaked the trailer happened to be wearing a cape. But regardless, thank you for leaking the trailer and fucking forcing them to finally release the trailer. I mean, maybe Vision was talking about that date in the first episode of WandaVision. Who the fuck knows? All I know is God bless that person, and thank God we finally got a Spider-Man trailer when we are actually relatively pretty close to the release date.
No, it seems really weird that they've like
Yeah,
pushed it so long.
There must be a reason.
yeah.
Like there's something in the trailer that was going to spoil something else that they are planning to release, like maybe
Yeah,
something
but it
in the
didn't even
Eternals.
look like. I mean, we've seen it now, so.
Well, you know how they tie stuff together all the time. Maybe like Black Widow, right? The very end of Black Widow, the end credit scene, we see Hawkeye. So there's a tie in there, and everything ties together. So maybe there's something in the Eternals that they didn't want this to leak before the Eternals came out, or something. I don't know. I'm speculating, spitballing. But yeah. But I cannot wait for that movie after seeing the trailer.
I mean, I couldn't wait for the movie before seeing the trailers.
The trailer even got me more energized.
I mean, I'm just saying, Avengers Infinity War, the fucking Avengers cast, running together through the fucking jungles of Wakanda, and then all of a sudden you watch the movie and that never fucking happens. I'm just saying.
It's true though. I'm pretty sure Disney just like films, like actually casts and films scenes just for their trailers.
I mean, you're not wrong.
And I know a lot of stuff gets cut, and so there's like things that sometimes they'll make a trailer out of.
Well, I mean, this has been confirmed in interviews, but there was a tweet of a meme of Tom Holland always looking confused on scenes of Infinity War and Endgame. And they're all like, why does Tom Holland always look confused? Tom Holland on Twitter responds with, that's because I literally had no idea what was going on. And then later on in an interview, you find out that everybody's given a different script, but for Tom specifically, he is given a very different script, and everybody else's lines have been blocked out. So for the expressed reason of, so he can't spoil the fucking movie. So for all we know, everything we saw in the trailer is drastically different.
Well, I mean, they've done this like a lot where they filmed multiple endings for a movie, so the actors don't know which ending.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to actors before who've been in the movie and still have no idea what happened in the movie because it's filmed so out of order.
Yeah, they do that a lot too. They're like, well, due to scheduling, and we want to film this first.
Well, yeah, because you want these people that you can have these people for a week and then overlap. I would not want to be a casting like person who has to schedule all the actors.
Nope.
Trying to like figure out these people, but this person needs to overlap with this person, so we have to do this week with that person, and oh god, that would be a nightmare.
Yeah, no.
Because you can't have them too long because then you're gonna have to pay them all that.
God forbid we pay people.
Well, we should pay them for what they work, but you don't want to pay them for the first week and the last week if they don't need to be there but 3 weeks.
True.
And you're paying them for 16 weeks.
Yeah. So initial thoughts of Spider-Man No Way Home? Yeah, No Way Home. Throw it over to Hawkeye, what were your initial reactions and thoughts after seeing that trailer?
My biggest thought is, why would he let him stay in the room while he's casting the spell? Like, hello, he's a spazzy teenager kid. You stay in there. That was my first thought. Like, okay, well, but
Or why not like go over the stipulations prior to starting the
sit
spell?
there, be quiet, don't speak, don't move.
But let me tell you everything, every outcome of the spell prior to even starting it, so you don't question it.
Yeah. Or,
I-
I mean, I know he's a teenager and all, but I mean, maybe it's just because of me and my upbringing. But if Wong comes out of the portal, is carrying bags and goes, "Don't do that spell, Strange, or else," and then leaves, I would have turned around to Doctor Strange and went, "So I'm gonna go. We should probably not do this." Like the guy with the sound conscience just said we shouldn't do it. I think we should heed a word of caution. Just saying.
That being said, absolutely loved it. I'm so excited. I was excited before. I mean, more excited after seeing the trailer, and I just can't wait to see what they're gonna do with this thing.
Yeah.
I'm just energized.
Yeah.
I don't do the whole, oh, is it going to be this and no Doc Ock, and I don't analyze it like that, because I just don't have the time, and I just want to be surprised when I go, so I don't try and overthink it before I get there.
Well, I
But
100% thought it, so I will do all that for you tonight.
You go do all the overthinking. The rest
Right.
of us, it's like, we just want to enjoy a movie.
Yeah, I know. Cosplay Jenemy, your initial reactions and thoughts.
I thought it looked cool. I mean, it's a trailer. I don't put a whole lot of stock into them.
You're the big Spider-Man nerd out of all of us.
I am, and I love Spidey. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love him, but I don't put a lot of stock into Disney's trailers anymore.
Fair. That is fair.
And I'm really excited to go see it. Like, I've been excited since, I don't know. I knew they were going to have a third one.
The one thing I will tell you, I went and looked because I was curious. Tobey Maguire is 46 years old.
So Spider B. Parker is definitely going to be in this film.
I was like, oh man. And Andrew Garfield's like 38. So, neither one of them are those teenagers that could be running around as Spider-Man. So,
well, I'm really kind of happy, like, for them to use grown-up spider people.
Experienced Spider-Man.
I feel like Spider-Man is like portrayed always as a teenager, but he does grow up in the comics.
He does grow up, yeah, 100%.
It's like, yes, he starts as a teenager, but they grow him up fairly quickly, and most of the comics are him as an adult.
Yeah. I mean, Toby's was in that vein too. They tried to, at least. You got the first movie is in his senior year of high school, and then the second one is him in college. But his third one is when he's an adult. He's grown up. So
ish.
Yeah, ish.
I mean, they started him as an adult, but I think they resorted him back to a teenager by the end.
Oh man, so many initial thoughts, so much analysis and breakdown for me. Because I try not to let, as we call it, the private news network overshadow our thought processes with rumor mills, but I couldn't help but have a lot of questions, because I'm like, well, hold on, with the multiverse, is this an opportunity? Will they adhere to fans, or is this something they're already thinking about? Either bringing in other villains, but using the multiverse as kind of that logic as to why these characters are going to come into play, and will we see the Spider-Verse come into a live action setting given the success of Into the Spider-Verse? A lot of questions, but of course we're talking about a group of people who they mapped out the entire saga between the first Marvel movie of Iron Man 2. Iron Man 1 was successful. It wasn't until the next Marvel movie that they started the fucking trend. All the way up to Endgame, they sat around a room and had coffee and beers and barbecue and thought up the entire storyline. So of course they're going to do it again. So there's a lot of questions, but this trailer has a lot of confirmation of villains, because first of all, the Goblin Grenade, straight from Toby's movies. On top of that, the laugh. was straight from William Dafoe's laugh from Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2. Then you've got Doc Ock, who
He's like my favorite Spider-Man.
there was an interview where he reported about how it's going to feel like he comes straight out of where we left him off. And I'm like, what? And then, of course, the way they did that trailer with the bridge over the water and then him coming up. So I'm like, what? Hold on. Wait a minute. So, of course, it's to reference another movie which was from The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, about how you put your hand on the Bible and swear to God that you're going to tell the truth. Why don't we acknowledge the existence of the counterpart, the devil, in court? So to key on that logic, if I'm seeing Doc Ock and William Dafoe's Green Goblin grenade land on the scene, and then a brief shot of the lizard from Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man movies, why not have Andrew Garfield and Tobey reprise their roles for one crescendo of a performance of their Spider-Man? Seriously, I'm not putting too much stock into it because I don't want to go in and go, well, that's fucking disappointing. But at the same time, I have to ask the question, are they going to be in there? Because I grew up with Tobey. Tobey is my jam. Tobey performed Spider-Man and Peter Parker the way Christopher Reeve and Brendan Routh did Superman and Clark Kent. So I really want to see him back. Especially I want to see him do some redemption because of that Spider-Man 3 movie that we don't fucking talk about. Like, just saying. So I want to see them reprise their roles. I want to see them bring some love and justice. And Andrew Garfield, there's no hate towards him and his performances from my path, but his movie did get the plug yanked on it from a fantastic ending to a Spider-Man movie. Like, in my honest opinion, I think Andrew Garfield's sequel had the best Spider-Man ending that any Spider-Man movie can get, which was everyone thinks Spider-Man's gone. This kid decides to be dressed up as Spider-Man, show up against the Rhino, and he shows up and it's just nothing but, yes, Spider-Man! Like, so I want to see him get his just deserves, honestly.
I was so mad at the ending of the Tobey Maguire movies, and when the Andrew Garfield movies came out, I didn't even watch them for a really long time. I was so mad.
I feel it.
I was like, that was awful. Why are you going to screw up Spider-Man again?
I feel it. I feel that vibe.
Finally, I watched it. I did eventually watch it because I was happy that they had like Gwen Stacy storyline in it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And I really hated that they just like eliminated her in Tobey Maguire's. Well, not that. That was supposed to happen. I meant in Tobey Maguire's. They just didn't.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't even exist. Like, even if she was like a background character who happened to walk through in one scene, I would have been fine. Like,
they didn't do her character justice, though, in my honest opinion. Yeah.
Well, they didn't really.
They introduced her, but that was at the extent of that.
It was like she was there just to murder her, not to have like an entire like. So she was such an intricate part of Peter Parker's life.
Yeah.
That in adulthood, he still takes time out of his day, or like once a year, still takes time to go and visit her gravesite, to talk to her, to be a part of her, to continue to have her a part of his life. Yeah. And like Mary Jane has always been supportive of it. And so the fact to like have movies without her drives me crazy.
I feel it.
Because she is a big part of who he becomes.
Yeah. But yeah, and in terms of Doctor Strange, so I'm gonna take what you said earlier, Hawkeye, and I'm gonna one up you a little bit. Not only kid not enter the room or show the stipulations, I'll one up you on this one. Doctor Strange has been, ever since he became the Sorcerer Supreme, has been this very careful, meticulous guy, and suddenly he's just gonna help Spider-Man, make everybody forget that he's Spider-Man. Something's not right about this. So
Oh yeah, the whole his personality is off.
Yep.
yeah,
It
his
was.
personality is off. So one of two things. Okay, I don't want to put more stock and hope into it, but a lot of hints have come through about how Mephisto will play some type of intricate role within this new phase of Marvel, right? I can't help but think, because this storyline is literally right out of that fucking comic book, maybe it's Mephisto playing around. Or option B, we see a moment where Doctor Strange is sitting there and meditating just before everything goes on. I can't help but think Doctor Strange has already looked into the future and saw an outcome that is beneficial, and that is why he's going along with this. To me, it's kind of like you've like pulling on the thread of something, but the only way to fix it is if you continue pulling the thread. Let's be real. The Avengers really fucked everything up just to bring their friends back. In order to beat Thanos, they fucked everything up. What if, in order to correct the fuck up that still leaves them beating Thanos, he has to continue pulling the thread and create the multiverse of madness and the whole situation with the multiverse? What if that's why? So Spider-Man's sitting here going, oh God, we fucked up. And he's battling Doctor Strange a little bit. And Doctor Strange is like, no, you don't understand, Parker. And I wish I could tell you, but if I tell you, I fuck everything up. So it's either A, it's Mephisto, or B, Doctor Strange knows more than is letting on to believe.
I think Doctor Strange always knows more than he's letting on.
It's factual, isn't it, though? It's factual. Like,
Yep.
oh, you're going to waste your screen time worrying about a fucking bunch of water and turn it into like some twister that keeps the water at bay while everybody else is fighting, even though Doctor Strange is one of the very few characters who could take Thanos on by himself. Interesting. Like, interesting. So yeah, I was blown away by the trailer. I think I may have jizzed my pants a little bit when Doc Ock and the Goblin Grenade showed up. I didn't realize that you see a quick moment of the Lizard until I watched the new Rockstars do a trailer breakdown. In fact, if you would permit me, if you give me a minute, I'm going to load up that said video and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So it's Peter Parker with not being Spider-Man at the moment, and it's hard to gauge where he's at. New Rockstars seems to think that there's a moment where we see them, it looks like they're tug of warring with a big box. I don't know if you guys noticed that. It's the scene where Doctor Strange uses that method where he palms him in the chest, and then his like astral whatever comes out flying out of the back. Well, in that shot, they're holding onto a box. Now, New Rockstars seems to think that in this moment there's some type of, I don't know, him in the box, I guess. They're inside the box. That's a weird way of putting it, but hey, that's what New Rockstars said. So, oh, and Electro and Sandman are going to be in this, so that's cool too. It's confirmed. I personally did not see the confirmation, but my fiance pointed out that you can actually see Jamie Foxx in the credits. So that's interesting to note.
I heard that rumor.
Yeah, and he is reprising his role. So I was like, oh, all right, there you go. Okay, so let's share screen. No Way Home. Share sound. Well, you know what? We were not going to share sound, so I don't want New Rockstars to be all like, you son of a bitch. Okay, so here is the moment in which we're talking about. Boom. So this figure coming up, slashing his claw-like hand across some type of surface is confirmed to be the lizard. Boom. And then he's talking about how their bodies that match, their physical look matches. And here's a brightened image. So the theory is that is the lizard, just to kind of give more love, if you will, because we've got confirmation of Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Sandman, all enemies of Toby. So it'd be kind of really a big old shaft, if you will, if Andrew Garfield comes back and all he's got is like Electro or some shit. That's the only villain he gets. Of course, the other worry is that with the Goblin Grenade, even though it comes from Toby's movie, people are really concerned that Andrew Garfield's Green Goblin's going to show up, because that was hard to look at. That was really hard to look at. Yeah. So Spider-Man, No Way Home trailer. And it's a teaser. A 3-minute teaser, by the way. So is the trailer going to be like 10 minutes long? Like
the movie. It's the movie.
It's the movie. It's just the movie. They're going to release it on YouTube. It'll be titled Spider-Man No Way Home Trailer 1. Just the movie. But then when they release it in theaters, it's a completely different movie, because that's the way they do. Yeah, short episode, but short but sweet. Fantastic stuff going on. Any final thoughts? Go around the room. Hawkeye, any final thoughts?
No, I think I've covered it all. I'm stoked for the Spider-Man movie. You're gonna love Shang-Chi.
Sweet.
I can't wait to talk about that later. I'm gonna try and go see it opening night. That's how much I liked it.
Ooh.
So,
all right.
Yeah, and yeah, thanks for including me, and it's great to be here.
Yay! Yes, we are so happy that you're a part of the family now.
Yay.
Cosplay Jenemy, any final thoughts?
Not really. I think we kind of went over everything before. I was just really excited to see it.
Y'all want to hang out for like literally just 20 minutes in utter silence until it's time for us to shut down the episode? No, I'm just fucking with you.
Hey, we stuck
not only to the programming, but we stuck really short to the programming. We're usually an hour.
When we don't. So what happens when you don't let us go?
I don't think we've ever got an hour when I've been on here as a guest. I don't think
we have. Trust me. I always.
Not when I've been here.
Oh, okay. Not true.
Wait a minute. Did we? I think the first one.
Yeah. Trust me. I monitor it really closely. I'm like, oh shit, we're coming up on an hour.
I do remember that now.
I will end the episode on a slight somber note. I just want to give a shout out to an organization, and I will drop the link in the video. There's an organization, I can't remember the name of the organization, but if you donate to said organization, it helps give funds to, again, not to repeat the same fucking word, organization, and its job is to take the citizens of Afghanistan, their families, and remove them from the war scene so that the soldiers of Afghanistan could actually do what needs to be done. A lot of Afghan soldiers have reported back to some credible sources that the reason why they are not fighting is because of threats to their families. So if you want to assist in any way, shape, or form, our listeners, I will drop the link in the description of this episode, and you can help families in need in Afghanistan. So, yeah. Pray for the people of Afghanistan. Yeah. That is all I have. I am your host, Tom Cruise, representing the Army. With me is my fairly lovely cosplay Jenemy.
Hi.
She almost didn't know what to say.
I didn't. Well, I always do something awkward, so I figure I got to keep with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't know what I was going to say. I was going to say fairly lovely co-host and stopped at
that fairly awkward child over there.
I was like, fairly yeah, it was awkward. Anyway, glad we were in
It's fine.
with it. And our new family member, Trevor, Hawkeye.Cosplay on Instagram. Make sure you give him lots of love over at Geek Boots Military Nerds. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you check us out again on Patreon to help support this channel, so that we can continue doing hour-long episodes, so we can rev up and do selling t-shirts and posters and tour the country at cons when things are, okay to do so. Yeah, all that wonderful jazz.
I do have one more thing,
Go for it.
if I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This weekend, I'll be in San Jose at the Silicon Valley Comic Con. So if anybody's watching this and you're going to be there, come say hi.
Sweet.
This weekend,
Awesome.
I'm gonna be at the Colorado Springs Comic Con.
Woo! There you go.
Working on stuff.
Nice.
Working on
I
stuff.
guess the only shout out I got is that I'm planning on working with my local fire department at axe throwing, because we are coming up on the 20th anniversary of 9/11. I think it is very important that my next axe throwing video, because I was like, it'd be really cool to throw a fireman's axe down range. That'd be dope. And then I thought, I'm going to ask firefighters can join me. That'd be really cool for the video. So that's all I'm doing, because I don't have any cons around me going on right now, because I'm not fortunate or lucky enough to have cons go on right now.
Most of them around me have begun getting canceled again, but this one is still going.
Hey, there you go. Get it in while you can, right?
That's right.
Yeah. All right. And then check us out on YouTube, iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, your mother's backside, or father's backside. We don't care. We just want to see backside tattoos of Geek Boots Military Nerds. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, everybody. See you all next week when we do something. I don't know, we'll find out. We'll find out.
We'll do what we do.
We do what we do. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.